All right, so 5.1b. We're gonna be using our two forms. So we have our quadratic and our two quadratic forms, standard and vertex. And we're gonna talk about how to evaluate whether you're in either one, okay? So same forms from yesterday, because that's all we have. So we're gonna really go over the domain and range of a quadratic function, okay? The domain and range of a quadratic function. The domain is all real numbers. That's because a quadratic function goes on forever from left to right, whether it's a positive quadratic or a negative quadratic, it's going on forever from left to right, correct? Okay, your range depends on the y value of the vertex. So your range depends on your y value of your vertex. Remember, your vertex is h comma k. And so your range depends on the value of your k and whether you have a minimum or a maximum. If you have a minimum, it's going to be whatever your k value is until infinity. If you have a maximum, it's going to be whatever your k value is. That's going to be the highest it'll go. That'll be your stopping point. Notice that on infinities, we always use parentheses. And for our k value, it's a bracket because that value is part of the function. It's included. How do you fill out domain and range? Cool? All right. Maximum and minimum value. When it asks you for the maximum and minimum value, keyword is value. Okay? It's just simply asking for the y value of the vertex. That's all it is. If it's asking you for the minimum value, it's simply the y value of the vertex, aka your k. Okay? There's no calculating there as long as you have the vertex. Does that make sense? Questions, comments, concerns? All right, cool. Let's keep it going. So putting it all together. So at this point, you should be able to graph a quadratic function, state the domain and range, identify/find the vertex, identify/find the axis of symmetry, and identify/find the x and y intercepts given a graph. Okay, so that's when they all come together, all the attributes of the quadratic. Okay, so here we go. We're going to put it all together and see what we can do. So we're going to first start off with the vertex. And because we're in vertex form, what is the vertex of this? It's just simply the what? Your HK. When you're in vertex form, it's just simply what your H is and what your K is. So my answer is 4, 3, and remembering that your X is a liar. Okay? So even though you may think it's a -4, it's actually a +4. If it's at plus, then it will be a negative. Axis of symmetry. Your axis of symmetry is X equals your H. So in this case, what is our axis of symmetry? 4. So X equals 4. Okay. Your max and min value. So in this case, am I going to have a max or a min based on what I have here? It's a minimum. So I'm looking for the minimum value. And what do we say when it say asking for your value? It's just your what? It's just the y value. What is your y value? Y equals 3. Okay, y-intercept. So yesterday we talked about finding the y-intercept. In order to find your y-intercept, you have to plug in 0. So we're going to plug in 0 to find the y-intercept. So we have 0 minus 4 squared plus 3. That equals 2 times 4 squared plus 3. That equals 2 times 16 plus 3. And this equals 32 plus 3, which equals 35. So our y-intercept is at 0, comma 35. Okay, and then our range, we talked about, it depends on whether you have a maximum or a minimum. And what did we say we had? A minimum. So since we have a minimum, that means our range is what our y is to infinity. What are your questions about analyzing from vertex form? Not terrible, right? Cool? All right. We're good with example 1? Cool. So example 2, we're in standard form. Okay? So in standard form, we have to do a little bit more work to get our vertex. Okay? In standard form, the first thing you have to do is actually find our axis of symmetry. And remember, to find your axis of symmetry, it's x equals negative b divided by 2a. So in this case, our a is negative 1, right? Our b is negative 6, and our c is negative 14. Do we see that? So I'm going to plug in what I need. So I have negative 6 divided by 2 times negative 1. A negative times a negative is a positive, and 6 divided by 2 is negative 2, I'm sorry, equals negative 3. So our axis of symmetry is at x equals negative 3. So we know the x value of our vertex. In order to find the full vertex, we have to find our y value. To find the y value, you're going to plug in negative 3x. So y equals negative 3 squared minus 6 times negative 3 minus 14. A negative times a negative is a positive, but there's still a negative out there. Plus 18 minus 14. So negative 9 plus 18 is? And 9 minus 14 is? Negative 5. So we know our vertex is at negative 3, comma, negative 5. Is this a maximum or a minimum value? It's actually a maximum because your A is negative. A is negative. So if your A is negative, you have a maximum. If your A is positive, you have a minimum. Remember that from yesterday? Okay. So A is negative. So we have a maximum value, and our value is just asking for what? And what is our y? Negative 5. So our maximum value is y equals negative 5. Your axis of symmetry is your x value. Your max or min value is your y value. Your y-intercept here, your y-intercept is always 0, comma, your c. And in this case, what is our c? What kind of 14? Negative 14. Yeah, because that's in vertex form. So in vertex form, you substitute in, but in standard form, it's given to you. And your range, because we have a maximum, that means it's our y value is our highest. So we start at negative infinity, and the highest we can go to is -5. What are your questions for standard form? All right, on your classwork / homework, this is what it looks like. You're going to start off with analyzing graphs, and then on the back, you're going to analyze the equations. So we're going to do number 1 together. So if we all look at number 1, it says, is the parabola concaved up or concave down? What do we have? Down. Okay. And then it says, what is the axis of symmetry? So your axis of symmetry is the invisible line that was split. And so what's our axis of symmetry? -3 at x equals -3. Your vertex, in this case, is our highest point. What is our vertex? The vertex is an ordered pair, so it has to be -3, comma, -2. Your y-intercept is at -8, 0, -8. Are there any x-intercepts? No x-intercepts? Uh-oh, that got weird. And what is the range of this function? Remember, range goes from bottom to top. Perfect. -infinity to -2. Okay. Do you feel confident in being able to do the rest of them? Awesome sauce. Let me know if you have any questions or comments or concerns, and I'll gladly help you.